This is The Fit Mess with Zach and Jeremy.
This is The Fit Mess. My name is Jeremy and his name is Zach.
What's up, everyone?
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Our guest this week, Gary John Bishop, author of the new audiobook, Ask Gary Fucking Anything, or you may know his previous work,
Unfuck Yourself. Get out of your head and into your life.
A fascinating conversation and a very funny guy who just could not hate my guitar more. We'll get into all that in just a little bit.
You know, right. One of the things I like about Gary John Bishop is the use of profanity in his titles. The 8-year-old boy in me, which tends to lead most everything I do, just loves it.
Oh, I
absolutely loves it.
I'm a sucker for any book that has profanity in the title.
Yeah, you drop a good F-bomb and I'm your friend.
Yeah. But the focus of our conversation this week is taking action.
Hey, Jeremy, can we do this later? I don't want to do this now.
No, we're doing this now. It comes down to getting out of your head and taking the action that you've spent the last day, week, year, decade thinking about.
Lifetime.
Yeah, this is a perfectly timed. It's so funny how my life always seems to line up with this show, but this is exactly where I'm at right now. I think I've talked every episode about the interview we did with Sean T a few weeks ago, a couple months ago now, and you know how motivated I was after that conversation to see his work out through, and I did. And then I fell into the same pattern I fell into last year, where it ended. And even though he continued the program with offering new workouts and stuff, once I finished that one, I was just the motivation wore off.
You completed it, and
then what?
You had nothing lined up,
right? And again, he offered something, but I don't want to dig too deep into that, but the workouts that he was offering, they got more complicated. It wasn't just push play on this one. It was do these 2 and then these 3 bonus ones that you have to dig up on YouTube. And it's like, fuck all that. I don't have time or interest to spend an hour and a half of my day doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I fell out of it. Fortunately, the weather's been nice. And my kids are really into swimming. So I've been going out on the lake with my kids and swimming every day. You know, I don't know that I'm getting as much of a workout, but I'm out in the water moving my body for 30, 40, 45 minutes, whatever, every day. So I sort of let myself off the hook going, well, I'm still doing something. I'm still moving my body. But, you know, I'm really stressed out, eating like crap. You know, there's been a never ending supply of Jelly Bellies in the house that are really easy to grab when you walk by the pantry every day.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all these things where I keep telling myself, oh, you know I've got this Beachbody thing. I can just pick a workout program, but there's no accountability, right? It's on me to decide. I need to take the action to do the thing. I need to make the time to go and swim every day or whatever it is. And because I don't have a plan, I'm just kind of winging it every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's sort of leaving me in this position of where I feel kind of paralyzed. I don't know what action to take. And so I just keep spinning in my head.
Right.
So the motivation is where I'm struggling. Like, I don't know where to find the motivation or the accountability to do something. And that's what's so interesting about the conversation we'll have with Gary Bishop is so much of his advice in his new book and in his past books comes down to just commit, just decide, just do something. And that's kind of where I'm at. You know, if I get in the swim, great. If I walk the dogs, great. That's where I'm sort of letting myself off the hook. It's like, I did something. I moved my body for 30 minutes. And that, maybe for now, that has to be good enough.
It could be. But so the way I kind of look at this is like, so going for a walk or going swimming, something like that. I mean, those are in my world, those are like activities that are going to happen anyway, right? Like we have to walk our dogs, things like that. And if you don't have time to go do a specific workout or doing something, you're right. It's something, but I've committed to making sure that, you know, like once a day I've got that I do something with intention, right? That's focused on what I really want to fix. Right. So if I need to battle my anxiety or any depression or stress that's crept in, right? I mean, a walk isn't going to do it for me. Like I need something heavy hitting, like some deep meditative yoga or some, you know, heavy duty workout. So I really try and make sure that like what I'm doing is intentionally helping me with these other things. Right.
Right.
But a lot of times it's like, oh, I did just take the dogs for a walk. So I did move. I don't
I did
have
something
to do this other thing. And there's all these different ways that you can hold yourself accountable. But sometimes you just need to say to yourself, get off your ass and just do the thing and be done with it.
It's funny. One of the lines in Gary's new book that stuck with me is that you can't be motivated all the time, right? It's not possible. And it would be kind of a miserable way to live, to just constantly have to scratch that itch, right? Like, so it was great to hear that, because I thought, God, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just stick with something? Why can't I just make the commitment and decide and then just live the rest of my life doing that? But at some point, the motivation burns out. And whether it's because the thing you're doing is boring or it ended or whatever, there's going to be this fluctuation. And I think I'm recognizing in myself a lot of patterns. I think just in this isolation world, this quarantine situation, whatever it is, but I'm spending a lot of time noticing things that I otherwise wouldn't notice in normal time. And one is, I woke up today with this, it felt like a hangover. And I was trying to think, like, God, why do I feel like shit? And, like I said, I haven't been eating well, but last night dinner blew up in our face. It was kind of a shitty day. So I got a call from my wife while I was out running an errand, and it was, hey, can you pick up some dinner? And so I did the easy thing. I went and picked up a, take and bake pizza, brought it home, and that's what we had for dinner. And I woke up feeling like I ate pizza for dinner. I feel like shit. And
those things are delicious, though.
Oh my God.
But like you said, the hangover from those it's not worth it.
It's brutal. It's brutal.
It's just not worth it.
So I'm noticing a pattern, I think, in myself where I go from super motivated to do the thing and hammer it out and carve out the time every day. And by God, hell or high water, I'm going to get that workout in. I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to meditate, whatever the thing is I'm motivated to do. And then it shifts from that motivation. The pendulum swings the other way to, okay, this is the rock bottom. I feel like shit. That's the thing that's going to motivate me to find the thing to do the next thing. I'm hoping that is where I'm at today, because I feel awful. And we have a full day of, we're going to go to the zoo. So I'm going to get my 5 miles in walking around the zoo today. But, I need to come up with a plan, whether it's, I'm going to go not just like paddle around with the kids in the lake wearing a life jacket, but like swim across the lake and back, or get on my bike and go for a 10-mile ride, or find a new workout. But I need to find something to commit to, because I feel it today. I feel like, okay, this is why I do all the things that I do, because I don't want to feel like this. I felt like this every day for 40 years. I don't want to feel like this anymore.
Yep.
And that's where Gary's words, are really ringing true for me, that you need to just commit to yourself that you're going to do it and make good on the promise, whatever it is. So I think that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah. He talks a lot about just doing things, right? Nothing's going to change unless you do something about it. Thinking about it, that's not going to do anything. You just need to take the first step. And I think you and I both have some similar issues where, like, if we don't have like a rock solid plan of what we're doing and how we're going to get there and what all the steps are and how it's going to look at the end, right? At least I do anyway. I have trouble taking that first step. And in health and wellness, right? I mean, I don't know what this step of eating right is going to look like in 30 days. Like what's that going to do to me? I don't know what working out every day is going to specifically do to me. I know I'm going to feel better. I'm going to look better, be healthier. But for me, like, if I don't have 100% of the answer of what it is that it is, I have trouble taking that first step. So like his words really do ring true, where it's just take the first step, just start doing it.
Yeah. Well, enough of us saying his words for him. Perhaps we should share now the interview we did just a few days ago with Gary John Bishop, author of the book you probably have heard of, Unfuck Yourself, Get Out of Your Head and Into Your Life. He has a new audiobook called Ask Gary Fucking Anything. It's a fun and a very quick listen, because it is just an audiobook, but a really fun guy to talk to. And here now our conversation with him, where he's going to bust my balls for my guitar at least a half dozen times.
And I didn't write this book in the way that I would typically write a book. I quite literally just went into the studio and had someone ask me the 8 questions, and I just answered them, right? And I just went deep into my philosophy and how I see things and how I do things. And we ended up with 2 hours of me like really just peeling apart like what it is to kind of take a philosophy and apply it to your life.
That's really cool. And that was the sense that I got from it. It felt very conversational. There were a few points where I thought, there's no way he's reading this, because he's just kind of riffing at this point. So that's interesting. Yeah. That's how it all came together.
Yeah, those are the parts where I was losing my shit.
Well, one of the questions that really rings true for me, and it's a natural spinoff from the last episode that we just did. I'm kind of at a point in my life, I feel like I'm deep in the middle of a midlife crisis, trying to figure out second half, who am I? What am I doing here? What is the point of all of this? Yeah. I'm not a guy with a ton of hobbies. There's nothing that I'm like, man, I can't wait till Saturday when I can go work on the transmission in the garage or whatever. So that is something that I've been really wrestling with, I think, the last year or two, is trying to figure out who am I and what is the point of all of this?
Well, can I answer your, so there's something, the first thing I want you to get is you're fucked. I mean, you're just fucked.
Yeah.
And you're fucked because you spent the first part of your life aiming for this.
Yeah.
And this ain't it.
No.
Right?
It's not.
What the fuck do you do now?
Right.
And that's everybody. I am going to do this. I go to college. I am fucking great. I make the money. I drive the Mercedes. And then you're there and you're like, what? Yeah. Here I am, right? So people call that a midlife crisis or something, right? I don't call it that. I say it's a bankruptcy of self.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. So you as a phenomenon are bankrupt.
So what do I do about it? How do I fix it?
It's fucking useless now. Like everything you know about yourself is just like, it's not doing it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's because you now have a persona, right, that you thought would get you what you wanted. Now you're stuck with a persona and it didn't get you what you wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Like, welcome to fucking humanity, right? So it's not unique to you. I don't want you to relate to it like it's something about you. Mm-hmm. It's actually something really about what it is to be a human being. What it is to be a human being is to aspire to something, get there and realize it ain't it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look back in your life and you look back through your teens and your 20s, that's been happening all the way along. But what you had back then was the next thing to go for.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I'll just do that. You did it then. I'll follow that. Oh, yeah, that's it. I'm on my way. Fuck this, right?
Yeah.
Until you get to a point where, like, there's no more after this.
Right.
You're kind of like at a fucking end of the road. Like, what is it? This is it?
Yeah.
Right? So I think, and I really say this like wholeheartedly, you got to realize like who you are. You're at its zenith. You're at the limit of the persona you've become. There's nowhere else to go with this, right? So what does that mean? Well, you could get despondent and fucked up about that, or you can get like, oh, it's time for a fucking reinvention.
Mm-hmm.
I need to reinvent who I am. And I mean like who you are. I mean like your emotional expression, what you're up to, like who you talk to, what you talk about. Like it's time for you to play a little bit with the skin and bone bag that you are. And explore a little bit in life, like what else is available to me? And here's the news. I want to give you some good news. Everything's available to you. Mm-hmm. It's all on the table.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, well, I could do this. That's all the thinking of the past. I want you to get it's all on the table, which is fucking mind-blowing when you think about it. Like, it's mind-blowing. Like, it's all on the table. If I want to be a multi-millionaire, that's on the table.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If I want to be a doctor, it's on the table. If I want to be a writer or a poet or a musician, not with that fucking guitar, but you get what I mean. It's mostly on the table.
Yeah.
No, but I want you to get it's all on the table. It really is, right? It's a big opportunity for you. And it's the kind of the little trap of that is it's not to approach life the way you did. See, Life before was a series of accomplishments and kind of getting there and then realizing that's not it. And then the next accomplishment, realizing that's not it. I would invite you to take on this next phase of your life. Is probably the best, most fulfilling, most inspiring, and you don't know what the fuck you're going to do. And I think that's brilliant news. Sometimes we feel as if we need to solve that for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't. You can explore a while. How long? I don't know, 6 years? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's that you know that you're in this mode of like, I'm exploring life. I want to see what's available to me. I want to dip myself in a few things and try them out and see what they're like for me. Obviously, you'll need to pay your bills and do all your other shit. That's just being responsible.
Sure.
But you can start to, I'm not kidding, like really experiment with who you are.
So here's
that thing.
Here's the thing. And you mentioned the guitar, and it's a great symbol for my life because it's something that I'll get motivated to do. I'll pick it up. I'll play the same 3 chords that I've known forever. Right. I won't stay motivated long enough to get any better. I'll get bored and I'll put it back. That has been the perfect analogy for my life, is that anything that comes up that I'm like, oh, this is cool right now. Yeah. And then within a couple of weeks, I'm like, that's work and it's hard and stuff. So how do I marry the two? How do I stay motivated to pursue any of these unending possibilities?
Right. Well, I think if you really wanted something, you'd be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not interested in becoming better at guitar, just fucking admit it.
That's
and just
solid.
admit it to yourself. Like, I'm actually not. I mean, I like it. It's good. Enjoy it. You know, those 3 chords fill a lot of fucking holes, man. I can play every U2 song. Right. It's good. And I enjoy it. But I'm not going to become the next fucking Glenn Fry or something. Right. I'm not. There's no fucking Joe Walsh dying to get out. Right. It's not happening.
Right. See that?
There's a tremendous amount of freedom in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tell yourself the fucking truth. Like, instead of burdening yourself with, see, there I go again, fucking still the same 3 chords.
Yep.
Hey, you know, you got 3 chords. Good. Now, if you are saying, you know what, though, I do want to challenge myself and I do want to get better at it, well, that's a different thing, right? That means you're like, everything that I've done to this point with learning, and we'll use the guitar as an example, everything I've done with the guitar at this point, I haven't been taking it seriously. I've not been delivering on it the way that I could. And I'm now going to do that. All right, well, that's a different game. Now you set yourself up with, I'm going to practice every day between 10 and 11 for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing it every day, regardless of how I feel. Right. So some days I'm going to be really fucking motivated. And some days I'm going to feel like I don't want to do it. Some days I'd rather just nap, right? Or do whatever the hell I do.
Yeah.
But I'm making this promise to myself because I've got this commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, something magical starts to happen when you start to look at how you relate to your promises. You see, you've trained yourself that your promise to yourself is in fact negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
That you'll say you're going to do something, but the minute you don't feel like it, you've given yourself permission to back up. Nobody did that to you, by the way. And then you've got to explain it. Like, well, I'm not feeling it. Well, so fucking what? What's that got to do with it? Like, I'm a father. I don't always fucking feel it, but I'm never off the hook.
Yeah.
Right? That's a great way to look at it. But if you're a parent, you know, and these parents, there's no like off time. You don't go to the kids and say, you know what, you guys, this isn't working out between us.
Right.
Not feeling it. You want to go and do something else? No, there's no out. And I say to people, look, it's time for you to bring that same kind of relationship into your life with some other things. So if you brought it into your life, like, it's not negotiable that I don't get better at guitar. And here's how I'll know. I'll be able to play 6 chords, right? Mm-hmm. Or 8 chords, right? Or I've learned how to play that fucking guitar solo, right?
Right.
And whatever that thing is, it doesn't really matter what the thing is right now. What's important is that you train yourself that you can deliver on what you said.
Yeah.
Now, that's a tiny little thing. I'm delivering on what I said with the guitar, for instance. I want to learn how to play a little more. And I define what a little more is for me. But that applies to everything. Like, if your life became about you fulfilling on what you said, then your potential is a function of what you say. It's nothing else.
Yeah.
And then All that you have to do as a human being is handle everything that's between right now and you fulfilling on what you said. There's nothing else to handle. Just here, there, and everything in between. Then life gets a little more interesting because you realize you can promise yourself some amazing shit and do it. But it starts with little things. It's you gotta learn how to be effective when you least feel effective.
Definitely.
So this might get me into a little bit of trouble, but you just validated the argument that I put forth to my wife. She's been saying for 20 years that she wants to be a writer. She wants to be a writer. And a couple of years ago, I threw it out at her. You know, if it was that important to you, you would have done it by now.
Right.
So I don't think you're going to be a writer. So I'm just going to take this piece of advice that you just gave and throw that in her face.
I don't think that's going to fucking work out well for you.
Yeah, it might be a mistake, but
I think you could be heading into a major shitstorm.
Yeah.
But what I do say to people, by the way, people say to me, I want to be a writer, a poet. And I say, I want to be 6 foot fucking too. So what? Right. And really, like, the so what is for people to get the complete uselessness of their wants. Right. Like, your wants are useless. They don't serve anything. Right. They just leave you wanting. I say to people, look, so people say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. Okay. Now what? And that now what leaves you right in the present moment with like, well, I'm just telling you what I want. I say, I don't fucking care. Now what? And then you're kind of forced to address, oh yeah, now what? Like, now what? You know, what am I doing about this?
Yeah.
People live lives of wanting. People live lives waiting to feel different, waiting for something in them to move.
Yep.
And it fucking doesn't. And then by the time you realize that, you're 10 years in the hole.
Well, and I think it's interesting in the book too. You talk about wanting what you once had, the body you once had, the money you once had, or whatever. We are constantly in a push and pull between the future and the past, completely ignoring where we are and what we can do to make now the best it can be.
Right. I mean, look, if you've ever read Alan Watts, the English guy, English philosopher, those are two words I never thought I'd put together, but there you go. But he was a super smart man. Like, he was so in tune, right, with the fucking universe. And I don't mean the universe that you've read in some of those self-help books. I mean, like, the actual fucking universe. And, you know, he had this, like if he would say stuff like, if you can't be happy right now, you'll never be happy. Right. Which to some people is like, oh my God, I'm fucked. No, you're only ever happy right now. You can't be happy later.
Right.
That's not, how the fuck can you be happy later? I'll be happy next Thursday. What the fuck? That doesn't even make sense. Right. Or I used to be happy. Right.
Right.
I know, but by saying I used to be happy, how does that impact you right now? Oh, I'm disappointed. All right. So now you're being disappointed right now. Right? Because you're only ever right fucking now. It's like people wait and get motivated. Like, when? Well, I'm working on it. No, you're not. You're doing something else right now. It only is fucking right now.
Yeah.
Everything else is an illusion, a complete fucking illusion. Like, this is why I often disagree with people who are in this kind of causality between where they are right now and their past. Like, I'm caused by my past. Like, that happened, therefore I'm this, right? I know, but then wouldn't that be the case that you're this because of all of it, or just the bits that you said?
Right.
I mean, isn't the cause of you being you that you switched the light bulb on when you were 7? Is that causing you? No, it was my father. He was an asshole. Okay, but what about your neighbor who wasn't an asshole? Why aren't they causing you? Why is it those things? Because ultimately you've settled on those things as being your milestones. I say to people, question your fucking milestones then. Question, reframe them, look again. So there's this kind of like fascination with that somehow this life of ours turns out like it turns out for us, right? That approach to being a human being never has you be present. You can't be present if your fascination is with how this turns out. You want to be present, you better get fascinated with how this is. How is it right now? How am I right now? I'm unhappy right now. Okay, good. What do you need to do right now? I don't mean like, well, I'm working on my degree. No, right fucking now. Right. What do you need to do that would have you express happiness? Not have somebody else make you happy, but for you to express your happiness or your satisfaction, your fulfillment. Because none of that shit's coming. You actually got to invent it for yourself right now, this moment, today. It's on like fucking Donkey Kong, or it's not.
Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting too that you reference. There's a point where you talk about it seems like I'm excluded from my friends, my family, whatever.
Yeah. The language of questions.
Yeah, right. I think that kind of plays into this same idea, is that even if you are unhappy, maybe it just fucking seems that way. Maybe if you really think about it. So it's really interesting when how you talk about using language to really figure out where you are and how to take that next step.
Yeah, it's very challenging to see how you've boxed yourself in. It seems like life is boxing you in, but life isn't boxing you in. How you see and interact with life is what's boxing you in. It's like you're never dealing with life itself. You're always dealing with how you see it.
Yeah.
Always, like and it's always you're given by, you're influenced by not life, but how you see life.
It's like that idea. It's the problem isn't the problem; it's your relationship to the problem that's the problem.
And I know that's sometimes there's a lot of fucking corporate psychology. People throw that shit out there.
Yeah.
But I really want you to get like, life isn't happening to you; it's the other way around. You're happening to life.
After talking with him now and actually listening to the audiobook that he did, I went back and, flipped open my copy of Unfuck Yourself, and reading the words from the book in my head, which is very monotone, after hearing his voice and his excitement, I had to go back and listen to the audiobook, and it was like, my God, it's so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, not knowing a lot about him other than just having read the book, however many years ago, I didn't realize he had an accent, and the passion that he delivers his words with in person, as opposed to, and not even as opposed to on the page, but it is harder when it's your voice rather than the voice of the person. And so I totally agree. He's just a fun guy to listen to, and very motivating. And so I'm hoping to use some of this motivation moving forward to make the changes that I know I need to make. I've made these changes over and over and over and over. And, that's part of the mess that we talk about, is that it's never perfect. It's never easy. There are times when the motivation drives us to accomplish the things we need to accomplish. And there are times when I feel like I do today, where it's the turning point where I go, oh yeah, I remember when I used to not feel like this all the time. That was just a couple of weeks ago before I fell off the wagon. So
I guess, Jeremy, the first action you could probably take is to get that guitar off your wall and throw it away.
Just smash it. Yeah.
He did not like that at all.
He did not. I look at it every day and I go, I should play that. I got something else to do.
He brought up a really good point, though. I mean, if something's important to you, you'll find the time for it and you'll do it.
Yeah.
For me anyway, that's a tough pill to swallow, because there's a lot of things that, use the analogy of some people are in love with the idea of being in love, not actually in love, but the idea of it. And there's a lot of ideas that I'm in love with that the reality of it isn't actually something that I like. So it's really hard to give up on some of those things. Like, I gave my guitar away years ago because I was in love with the idea that I could play guitar, not the actual passion and feeling of playing the guitar itself.
Right. The guitar is one example. There's so many examples of times when I have to decide how important something is to me. And one was, the workout I did for 60 days. I was looking at all these before and after pictures of people that, they didn't start off too shabby before. And then after, it's like, oh, damn, that's a big transformation. I never took a before picture, and I never will. It's just not me. But I didn't see the kind of transformation I was hoping to see. And perhaps that's where I lost my motivation. It was just like, I kicked my ass every day for 2 months. And, I saw some change. I felt some change, but I didn't see like, wow, that was worth an hour of my day every day, feeling like, just beating myself up. And so that's partially probably why I started to fall off the wagon, was just that, I didn't get the fix that I wanted from the work. So then I make the choice to stop, but then I can't look in the mirror or get on the scale and be mad at the mirror or the scale, because it's a choice I made that the work wasn't important enough to me. To look the way I want to look isn't important enough to me to stick with it.
Right. But it's not just about the look. I mean, you mentioned earlier, right? You fell off the wagon and now you feel like shit.
Yep.
Right. It's not, I mean, everyone would love to have a beach body, right?
Right.
And the abs and everything. But for me, it's sanity.
Mhm.
Like, I can deal with life better.
And that's
because I'm doing that. And there's no before picture for that.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, I guess there is, right? I mean, it's the, if your child's therapy bills go down a little bit, you could use that. But, just being able to deal with life and have that vent, that ability to blow off steam and not become Karen somewhere at a Walmart and blow your steam off there. Right. It's, you can't take a picture of that.
So you're saying that when I destroyed a wrench yesterday because I couldn't get the hose timer to work that I wanted to, that might have had something to do with the fact that I'm not blowing enough steam.
That wrench may have survived
had I been
continued working out and blowing off that steam.
So dumb. The stupid faucet kept leaking and I was trying to fix it and I didn't have the tools to fix it and I just destroyed a wrench over it. So dumb.
Well, the wrench probably had it coming.
It had it coming.
So, I mean, seriously, it has like one use, right?
Right. Do your job. You have one job. Do your job.
Yeah. I need people working for me that can do multiple things.
Right.
Like this single use, that doesn't fly in this household.
Right. But no, you're right. That's, somebody asked on Twitter a few weeks ago, like, why you work out. And I remember responding something like, tired muscles, quiet, dark voices. And that totally is true for me. I've been depressed the last couple of days as a result of not blowing off the steam, not doing the things I need to do. So
that's great. Did you come up with that yourself? Tired muscles?
I did. Tired muscles, quiet, dark voices.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So I need to like tattoo that on myself or something to remind myself that that's why I'm out here sweating on a 100-degree day or whatever.
I'm not sure that like I can get my muscles tired enough to quiet the dark voices.
It just quiets them. It doesn't make them go, they're just quieter. It's still there. Duh.
Just remember, Jeremy, Gary John Bishop said that everything is solvable. And if you can't see a solution, it just means you haven't worked it out yet.
And it's funny that's what he says, because we've been talking about that sort of around that on this show, that like without the context, without knowing where the action fits into a bigger plan, it's really hard to take that action. And I think you said that's perfectionism, and I never identified it that way. But for me, even sometimes doing this show, I don't know what the motivation is until sometimes we're in the middle of the conversation. I'll have this epiphany that's like, oh, that, yes, boom. Like, it's just funny how it's so hard to see the path sometimes, no matter how obvious it is. And so often it comes from just, in the case of this show, like I said, just by starting to talk, you find the path. By just moving your body, you start to figure out, oh, I like doing this. I'm going to keep doing this for now, whatever it is.
It's amazing how many times that tendency solves issues, right? I mean, I've seen it. I mean, that's why I go to therapy, right? My therapist doesn't really offer, I take that back. She offers a lot of really good stuff, but there's so many times where like, as I'm just talking,
mm-hmm.
it works itself out and I figure it out and I have that epiphany. Or, at work, I've got, people come into my office with a problem. They state the problem and I very specifically just ask questions,
mm-hmm.
right? I don't ever try and feed them anything, but I just ask questions, get them talking. 9 times out of 10, they'll talk their way into a solution,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have to do anything.
Right.
I mean, it's super easy.
Right.
Yeah. As long as you start talking about it, like, and just, there's something about talking about a specific thing where thoughts, you vomit out thoughts that you wouldn't have if you're just having that inner dialogue with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's that, and also it's proof that you're your own best mentor. It's something that I've wrestled with my whole life. I've been trying to find, the master to teach the apprentice. Like I feel like I don't know enough, and there's someone out there that can guide me. And so often that person has been someone who asks the questions that get me to turn back on myself and go, well, what do I know about this? So many times when I'm just writing, I'll just do a word like a mind dump in the morning to clear just the fog and what's going on, and I'll find like, oh, that was the I'm sorry, was that humorous? Mind dump should be the name of the episode.
I was gonna throw it in there and be like, I do a dump every morning too, but it's
not quite as useful.
Slightly different. Sorry.
But yeah, so often I do find that, that many of the answers I'm looking for, I already have. I just need to find a way to unlock them.
Yep. It's all there. You just got to figure it out and take action. That's the key is just taking action.
Yep. All right. So with that, we will wrap things up for this week. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have a very interesting show for you. Zach, you've been going through some treatments, some supplemental treatments that we'll be talking about. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing and what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, I've been doing an NAD IV supplement treatment that is hopefully going to, help my mitochondria function better. And it's NAD has been touted as an anti-aging solution. So we'll see how it goes and what impact it has on me. And hopefully I'll feel like I'm 20 again. But
some serious biohacking you're doing here.
It is, but it's very cool. So we've got, we have an expert that we'll be talking with next time about all this, and he will be able to give you much more detailed information than I can. I'm just the guinea pig in the chair with the IV.
Yeah. Interesting to see how you're feeling in a couple of weeks, and we'll do that on our next episode. You can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Now, I'd go do that so you don't miss the next episode. And for more on us, you can go to our website, thefitmess.com. Thank you so much for listening and for sharing, and for any ratings or reviews or any way you want to reach out to us through social media or whatever works for you. Thanks again for listening. We will talk to you in a couple of weeks at thefitmess.com.
See you, everyone.
We know this podcast is amazing and does not seem to lack anything, but we do need a legal disclaimer. Jeremy and Zach are not doctors. They do not play them on the internet, and even if they did play them on the internet, they would be really bad at it. Please consult your physician prior to implementing any changes that you heard on this podcast. The listener assumes that Jeremy and Zach do not know what they are talking about, and that you will do your own research on the topics talked about on this podcast.